Am I the jerk for going to my grandfather's funeral even when my father doesn't want me to? I, 23 years old female, don't really talk much with my father, 52 years old male, because of his wife, 45 years old I think. We have a long history of not liking each other. I have essentially been her confidant and psychologist since I was 13 years old. I have been listening non-stop about how my mother was a bad mother for asking for child support. She was not with us because she was a single mother working to feed 4 children, when my father was paying 400 euros a month for all of us. I have heard her complain about my father in every possible way, even in inappropriate ways when I was 15 or 16 years old. I have heard her say that we, the children, would be the reason if they ever got divorced. The situation got so bad that I was failing school because all I was thinking about was the situation I had with her at my father's home. It got to the point where I had panic attacks because of it. Around 1 year ago we had a big argument, and I left my father's house and did not step foot in it, except once because of Christmas when my sister begged me. I don't really want to have anything to do with her. In our last argument, she essentially kicked my brother and me out of my father's home because I didn't want to listen to her talk badly about my sister and my family again. I simply told her that I didn't care and that I had heard enough of her talking about every single thing that every single person in my family had done to her. She has a notebook, like a diary, where she records everything that she has done for us, such as staying one more night because of my grandmother's death, or picking us up from high school when my father was working. She also points out the wrongs that we did, like standing up for my mother, going out late, or talking back when we were teenagers. In summary, my grandfather just died, and I need to go to another country to attend his funeral. As soon as I heard the news, I called my father to ask how he was and to let him know that I wanted to go to the funeral. My father didn't really want to talk, but my sister told me that my father doesn't know what to do because his wife has told him that if I were to go to my grandfather's funeral, she wouldn't go. Essentially, she is putting my father in a position where he has to choose between bringing his daughter or his wife to his father's funeral. I am really disappointed about this, not just because she is putting my father in such a difficult situation at a very low point in his life, but also because my father suggested that I should not go to my grandfather's funeral. I don't really know what to do. I don't want to cause family drama in this situation because it is not about whether we are good friends or not. But I think I have the right to go to my grandfather's funeral, whether she goes or not. Am I the bad person for wanting to go even though it may cause problems? You haven't done anything wrong. If you want to attend your grandfather's funeral, you should. Otherwise, you will likely regret missing it in the future. Your father is free to attend or not attend, but that decision is entirely up to him. Do not let your stepmother's selfish behavior dictate your actions during this difficult time. You should go because you want to honor your grandfather. Am I the jerk for calling my brother-in-law an arrogant snob and asshole for not respecting my boyfriend and not wanting to pay him for his work? I, a 32-year-old female, have been with my boyfriend, a 34-year-old male, for almost 7 years now. My sister, a 34-year-old female, got married about a year ago to her long-term boyfriend, a 36-year-old male. Shortly after my sister got married, she became pregnant with my little nephew. About 3 months after he was born, my brother-in-law asked my boyfriend, who is a mechanic, to check his car. He happily agreed, ordered new parts, and it took about 3 hours to do the whole service and renew everything necessary. All went fine, they had fun chatting a bit, and we agreed to meet for coffee the Sunday afterwards. On Saturday, my sister called me to ask how much they owe my boyfriend for the work. I told her I would ask and got back to them with a text saying that the total would be 150 euros. For comparison, if my brother-in-law had gone to a car shop, he would have paid around 900 euros. A few minutes later, my sister called me, telling me that this amount is ridiculous and that Klaus is fuming as he expected not to pay anything but the parts. I am super confused and tell her that the guys should talk directly to each other to figure this out. So we hang up and my boyfriend and I have time to get super upset about their behavior. For greater context, you need to know that my brother-in-law always made it clear that he does not like my boyfriend. He has said mean things about his blue-collar clothes, family, hairstyle, music taste, etc. My sister always made sure to tell me about those comments, forcing me to stand between the sides, so I repeatedly asked her to stop this and accept that he is the man making me happy. Anyway, my boyfriend was willing to again swallow his pride, give up on the money and talk like a normal family when visiting them and the baby the next day. The next morning arrives and I text my sister to ask what time we should come over. She just replied that as long as this is not sorted out, we should not visit them. This is when I lost it and started to cry, as I cannot understand why I am being punished by not being allowed to see my little nephew, who I love to death and was looking forward to seeing all week. So my boyfriend called my brother-in-law in my defense, telling him that this is unacceptable and that they do not have to get along. But there is no need to be mean to me about this. My brother-in-law just laughed it off. Then my sister called me, and I, in my anger and frustration, told her that she should know we do not care about money. But it is unfair to expect everything for free because we are family when at any other occasion they do not accept us being a couple. I told her she should not have let this get between me and her, and I admit it, called my brother-in-law an arrogant and snobbish jerk. Just when she started calling my life primitive, I hung up and we have not spoken since. As you can imagine, there is quite a backstory here, but that would be too much for one post. So far, regarding this situation itself, am I the jerk? You are not the one to blame. People who look down on blue-collar workers until they need something from them are the worst. Your brother-in-law can overpay at the car shop next time his car needs work. Don't let your boyfriend swallow his pride. Your brother-in-law will come around when he needs help again. Am I the jerk for starting fights with my mom? My parents' relationship has always been awful. My mother works to earn money and maintain the house, while my father does not do much other than watch over me. He has anger issues and has really hurt my mother, which she cites as the reason for her bad temper. I have been out of the country most of my life for school and have not returned in about 5 years. This visit was the first time seeing my mother in such a long time. I was shocked to see that she was very prone to anger. Whenever she is in a bad mood or stressed out, she treats others around her harshly. During the 2 months I was visiting, I tried to encourage her to change her ways and to mind her words when speaking instead of saying whatever she wanted. She always promised to change, but she would revert back to her habits when stressed or in a bad mood. I get very upset when this happens because I want her to be a better person and wish she treated me better too. Though it is not a big deal the way she speaks, I get very upset, which leads to me scolding her. This always turns into a giant argument after she becomes set in a bad mood. She tells me not to make anything into such a big deal and blames my father for giving her trauma, claiming she cannot change it. She also says she is the only one in the household who does anything important, and that we should be grateful and not bother her. I feel like this is true, as without her, I would not have the opportunities I currently have. However, does that mean I cannot have complaints about her actions? I feel bad for the way my father treats her, but I also have issues with him. It has never changed the way I treat others. I am grateful for her work, but I am only in high school and cannot have a job to support her. Is her argument unfair towards me? I wish she would show some leniency since I am only 16. I had always imagined my mother would be amazing once I visited her after so many years, but it hurt to find out there were so many issues. I expected better, and that is why I get upset so often. I know the problem always starts with her talking to me harshly, but am I the bad person for getting upset and basically starting the argument after that? Especially when she has done so much to support me under a harsh marriage? She is traumatized, but the way she makes you feel is still real. Her behavior is explained by her trauma, but not justified or excused. It's her responsibility to take care of you and give you opportunities, not something you should have to be grateful for. She might want to change, but without putting real work into it, she's not going to change, and you have every right to be upset. Am I the jerk for confronting my friend for publishing a fake story involving me doing drugs at a nightclub with a rock star? I, 47-year-old male, have a good friend from high school. I will call her Jessica. She is involved in an inheritance scam, believing she's about to receive billions of dollars in foreign real estate from a long-lost relative. She is writing a book about her life. She asked people if she could use their first names, and everyone I know of said no. People sent me screenshots of an excerpt she posted on Facebook for our nearly 100 mutual friends to see. It is an old, ridiculous story that includes me and 2 others who also said no to using their names. Most troubling, some of the story is fake, especially the part about us doing drugs. Her story, paraphrased, in early 2001, we went to a nightclub, true, and met a rock star, partially true. We each took an ecstasy tablet, false. We had drinks, true. The lights dimmed, false. A hit song played, false. The crowd cheered, false. And the band entered, true. They went to a VIP area overlooking where we were dancing, true. We were really excited, true, and did more ecstasy, false. She called out to the rock star, and he looked, true. He came over and refused drinks we offered, partially true, and talked to us, false. Some of the band did as well, true. In reality, we did not talk to him, nor did we do ecstasy. It was a work day. They were drinking. The band snuck in discreetly. The rock star did not come over. Jessica's boyfriend was so drunk we barely got him back to the car. For context, we had done ecstasy before, but this was not one of those times. I am not proud of it, but I have moved on, and I thought she had as well. Our lives are very different now. I have my own online business and manage websites under my name. I could lose business. I messaged another person named in the story, and she was also concerned about her career. She contacted Jessica, who said she would change the names just before publication and had already removed the post at her, now, ex-boyfriend's request. There were no apologies or promises. I then contacted Jessica directly myself and asked her not to use my name. She treated it as a joke and said we were being paranoid. She insisted she would not use our real first names, but I pointed out that she already had. She said she can. It went in circles. The gaslighting took a turn when she admitted she did not care about our opinions anymore and could write whatever she wanted with our first names, even if it made us look bad. She also rubbed it in my face that she could say worse things but would not, so I should stop complaining. That is when I lost it, and we got into an argument. I could be the antagonist because, as she says, I started this argument over nothing. Am I the antagonist? In my opinion, you have done nothing wrong here. That's definitely defamation. She's just an asshole who thinks she can afford to cause these problems. Honestly, no one will read her story because it will never get published. Am I the jerk for being sarcastic to my fiancé's mother when she made uneducated comments about South Africa? I am a 27-year-old female from Johannesburg, South Africa. My fiancé Will, who is a 27-year-old male, is American. We met in 2018 during my Master of Science program in England. We dated briefly but lost touch afterward. In 2021, he reconnected with me via Instagram and our relationship blossomed. He has visited South Africa a few times, and I have visited him in New York once. In May 2024, he proposed to me during a visit to Johannesburg, and I happily accepted. Recently, I got time off work and visited him in New York again. We also planned a trip to Atlanta to meet his family, whom I had not met before. I was excited but nervous. At first, everything seemed fine. His family welcomed me with a big dinner. However, his mother and aunt made some stereotypical and uneducated comments about South Africa, which I found amusing but also slightly irritating. They kept asking why I sounded British, and even compared me to Hermione from Harry Potter. Then his mother said, "I'm honestly wondering how you're South African if you're not black." I didn't even know there were white people in South Africa. As a naturally witty and sarcastic person, I responded without thinking, saying something like, "Yeah, we just magically appeared there one day, like poof." In hindsight, I can see how this might have been the wrong approach, but it was my immediate reaction. His mother and aunt were clearly offended, and the evening became awkward. Will noticed the tension and got upset. When he drove me back to my hotel, he started ranting about how disrespectful I was to his mother and aunt. He talked about how important respect is in his family and did not let me explain. I apologized, still confused because I did not think much of my comment at the time. It was meant to be lighthearted. However, Will raised his voice, expressing his disappointment and saying we would talk about it later. Since then, he has not responded to my messages or come back to the hotel to speak to me. Now, I am wondering if I was really out of line. I did not mean to be disrespectful, but I did not expect them to be so sensitive. So, am I the asshole? You did nothing improper. His family was out of line, and you tried to gently call that out by deflecting with humor. The bigger issue here is your partner's reaction. He turned a minor issue into a tool to punish and emotionally manipulate you. Raising his voice and giving you the silent treatment are red flags. What happens when something really major occurs? Am I the jerk for refusing to allow my sibling to drive with us to the family vacation? My partner, who is 26 years old, and I, who am 22 years old, both have autism. My 15-year-old brother has severe ADHD. My brother is also immature, careless, and deep in puberty. He is known for being a handful, constantly late, and destructive with his belongings and others. For instance, he has broken multiple phones and laptops my mother bought him. This Friday, we are planning a family trip across the country. My partner and I were looking forward to a peaceful road trip alone, having planned our drive and stops in advance. However, today my mother found out that my partner would be driving and decided to have my brother ride with us, saying, "Since you're driving anyway, he can come with you." She and her boyfriend are driving separately in a two-seater van due to the amount of stuff they need to bring. We really do not want to babysit an unruly 15-year-old for 4 hours, especially since we were not asked nicely, just told he would be with us. Normally, my mother and her boyfriend drive in 2 cars, so we assumed that would happen again. This year though, with my partner joining us, they saw an opportunity to shift responsibility. While we understand their reasoning and offered to take him if absolutely necessary, we are not happy about the situation. When I talked to my mother, she did not have convincing arguments. Her points were the following. First, driving separately is expensive. We offered to cover the extra gas since we are causing the inconvenience in her eyes, but she declined. Second, he cannot drive with our sister because they will arrive later. However, we are not planning to arrive on time either, as we are taking a more relaxed trip. My partner, who is an anxious driver, prefers not to drive in a convoy and likes to rely on her sat-nav, especially due to her autism. Third, things could go wrong if he is late, but she could not specify what. Our conclusion is that we could take him if necessary, but reluctantly. We have a lot to bring and are not sure everything will fit. Plus, if he is coming with us, he will need to follow our schedule, meaning we likely will not arrive on time. Now my mother is upset and said she'll ask my sister after all, despite never asking us first. We feel we offered a reasonable compromise, but she is implying that everyone has to make sacrifices while essentially making my brother our responsibility. So, are we the assholes? You haven't done anything wrong. A simple that won't be possible should be enough without providing any reasons to create room for negotiation. Your mother can be upset if she wants, but those are her feelings to manage. These are issues that come with the choice of having a kid and the choice of traveling. Update: my sister has taken the devil into her hands. Not my problem anymore. DD, thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.